Oh my God, oh my God, I just want to cry here. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Thank
Goddess
you.
of wisdom. Let's have a seat. Oh my, all this, unbelievable, truly. Now, Aisha, you wrote this poem while you were in captivity,
Yes.
on the margins of the textbooks that he forced you to read. Can you tell me how this poetry, I mean, how did it help you survive even?
Well, the most important thing for me and the key to my survival at that time was to continue to remind myself that I'm not who he says I am. I'm much more than that. And that's what this poem was about.
Did he catch you in writing in any of the poems?
He did. A lot of them he did catch me writing, and he would rip them out of the book and ball it up and throw it in the trash. So I was only able to save what I was able to remember.
Now, your captor, Calvin McIntosh, had two children with you,
Yes.
had two children with his own daughter,
Three.
three children with his own daughter,
Correct.
who was his own conspirator in
Yes.
capturing you and starving you and your children. Can you tell us more about this experience?
It was just very difficult to believe that another woman who was familiar with the trauma that I was experiencing would actually be complicit in helping her father, do this to yet someone else. But after a while, I figured that in her mind, it seemed as though it was either her or me. And so I think that she chose for me to have to go through it instead of her having to continue to go through it.
And some of the things that she has done is starve your children and yourself,
Correct.
which led to the death of your own child.
Correct.
You call her an angel.
Yes.
Tell us why.
Well, my daughter, her name is Alcenti. I call her Alcenti the angel because she is the one who actually led to my rescue. If it had not been for the death of my daughter, I would have died. I was literally 18 hours away from death when I was rescued by the.
What does that mean? What happened? How did the police discover?
Well, when Alcenti passed away, the kidnapper, he decided to take her to a hospital, but she was already 3 hours deceased. And it was in this act that led the police to follow him back to where he was going, which was to the hotel where he was holding me captive, and also the rest of the children and my daughter who did survive.
Now, I mean, this is a long-term hotel you stayed at for how many years? Say that again.
It was 4 years and 7 months.
And 7 months. Oh my God! And you kept count of the time.
I did. I did. It's just a reminder of, you know, how difficult that struggle was, because when I was going through it, I felt that I would die there, that it seemed like forever, and it seemed like I would never see the world again. But keeping count of it helps me remember that even when a struggle seems like it will last forever, it won't.
No, I'm curious. What kept in that moment of moments, hours, years of darkness? What kept you going? You talk about the soul and the self and so. What kept you going?
Well, just the notion of I know myself and I know who I am, and I know that this is not the treatment that I deserve. This is not the treatment that my Creator intended for me. And also being able to birth my daughters with no assistance and them being born healthy, that is what truly kept me alive. Because in those moments when I was very much so down to the last of my energy, and I could barely stay awake for more than 5 minutes, I thought how I need to be strong and I need to survive this so that I can take care of my girls.
Now, when you were freed, the state took your other surviving child
They did.
and put the child, a girl,
Yes.
in a foster with a foster home, in a foster home with foster parents,
Mhm.
but you have not seen her since then. So tell us more about how could that happen?
Um, I, I'm just as baffled as you are. It's been extremely difficult because when I was first rescued, I was in a catatonic state, which is basically like a vegetable. So I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't use the restroom on my own. And so at that time, the court decided that since she was in emergency foster care, she would stay there. However, they were supposed to, when I came out of the catatonia, um, allow me to have visitation with my daughter. But eventually, the judge saw that although I was out of the catatonic state, he decided that my daughter had become accustomed to her foster parents, and he decided that visitation with her would not be meaningful. So basically, he made the decision for her.
What time period we're talking about between the judge's decision and your own well-being?
So I came out of catatonia in May of 2015. My daughter entered foster care November of 2014. And ever since May of 2015, I've been able to walk, talk, and speak to you just how I'm speaking to you now. And ever since then, the judge still has not lifted the no contact order. And just recently, in August, when my newest daughter was born, my parental rights were terminated.
Terminated. How old is your child?
My oldest is
The
6
one
years
in the
old.
foster, 6 years old.
Yes, she's 6 years old.
And what are you doing? Is there any actions that you're doing?
Right now, I'm really at a standstill because when I applied for the appeal, I was actually in the hospital giving birth, but I was making contact with my appeals attorney and trying to make sure that my paperwork made it in on time. And my appeals attorney entered the paperwork at 11:59 on the night before it was due. So it's just been so difficult because I know that the Court of Appeals is looking at the paperwork and saying in their mind that obviously this could not be so important to this person if they entered it in at the very last minute. And because of that, I was denied the ability to appeal.
Wow. Now, do you have a good attorney right now?
I do not,
You do not.
no.
Well, I hope we can change that, actually. I,
I hope
I, I
so
do
as
hope
well.
so. Miracles do happen, and you
I
are a
believe.
child of miracle in here. Now, talking about miracles, a new miracle did happen in your life.
Yes,
You are now in love
yes,
with a man, with a wonderful man, I
yes.
hear and I see. And you have a new baby, as you just mentioned. Tell us more about that. You know, as a woman who had my own different, we all have trauma from,
Right.
our relationships. How did you come around and trusted men again and,
Oh,
and, and fall in love?
it was extremely difficult. I won't sugarcoat that. It was extremely difficult. But I think that with my fiance, Aaron, when I met him, I just knew that I was safe and that I really just felt that I was being kept alive, kept safe, and kept especially for him.
I have to say there's nothing more beautiful than having the love of a
Thank you.
good person in our
Yes,
life,
yes,
holding our backs. And,
thank you.
and Aaron, you seem wonderful
Yes,
guy. Thank you for holding our sister.
yes.
Um, you have light about you.
Thank
You have
you.
a light about you, and yet you have seen darkness in its eyes.
Yes.
What are the lessons that you can share with all of us?
Well, one of the lessons that I learned is that no matter who you are and no matter how precious you are to the people in your life, it's very important to remember that when you go through your struggle, because I believe everyone has one, when you go through your struggle, you have to think about yourself and think about how important it is to preserve yourself in the midst of your struggle, no matter what that may be, you know. I think that there were several times where I lost confidence, even in my recovery, coming back from starvation, and, you know, I would look at myself in the mirror and I would just cry because I was like, you know, I don't know who this is. This isn't me. But obviously those things, they all can be changed. Everything can be changed as long as you make sure that you preserve your life and the love that you have for the special people in your life.
Well, there is a goodness at the end of the day. There is your new baby, there is Abby, there is your beautiful poetry, there is your light, there is your Aaron.
Yes.
And hopefully your child will come back to you one day.
Definitely.
And I hear that you took your degree now, or you're in the process of finishing also school, and I hope you continue. We're all here for you and with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.